As a facilitator, part of your role is to make sure that all of the voices in the room are actually heard. But let's face it, some voices are more easily heard than others. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why quiet participants might not be speaking up, and I'll give you some simple strategies for how you can address it. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use the principles of deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting or workshop is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops and community conversations. Now I spend most of my time helping other trainers and facilitators do it well too. When you're facilitating a meeting or a workshop or a community conversation, it's important that you hear from everyone in the room. But sometimes engaging quiet participants can feel really tough, especially if there's loud voices in the room. In 20 odd years of facilitating, what I've learned is that engaging quiet participants is not necessarily about the participant themselves, but it's more so about the space that you create or the environment that you create so that those people are able to contribute to the conversation. In this video, I'm going to share the 5 spaces that you need to create in order for quiet participants to truly engage. Space number 1 is a safe space. And let me make this clear, as a facilitator, you cannot make anyone feel anything. So I can't simply say this is a safe space and people suddenly feel safe. Dr. Gabor Mate says that safety is not the absence of fear, but the presence of connection. So if we want to create a space or an environment where the feelings of safety have the best chance of showing up, we need to spend time at the beginning of the session creating an environment where people can truly connect with each other. That means going below or beyond trivia and actually getting to the heart of what makes people human. Of course, creating a safe space or a space where safety has the best chance of showing up is not just about connection. It's also about making participants feel like you've really got their back, that you will be in control of the situation, and that you are going to create boundaries or conditions in the way in which the conversation can take place. So if you have a participant who's not engaging, check the vibe of the room. Do they feel safe to contribute? Space 2 is a pondering space. So what we know is that about 1/3 of people in any given room need space to ponder their thoughts, to internally process their thinking before they're going to speak into the room. So if you ask a question or you invite contribution and then you just move on super fast, there's 1/3 of the people in the room who haven't even considered what they're going to think about yet. So it's really important when you design the session to factor in pondering space. You might say something like, in a moment, I'm going to invite you to share your thoughts on, or in a moment, I'm going to invite you to share any questions that you may still have. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds on your own just to think about what those comments or questions might be. That means that the people who need pondering space actually carved out space for them to think. It's also important when you ask the question or you make the invitation to leave space for the response. I work to a general guideline of 10 heartbeats. So I ask the question and then I wait 10 heartbeats. What usually happens is the quieter participants have this internal dialogue going on. Have I got a question? Is this the right time to ask the question? How am I going to phrase this question? I wonder if she'll answer it later on. Is now, what will people think when I say it? And they have this whole conversation. At about heartbeat 8 or 9, they'll bring that question into the room. If you have a quiet participant who's not engaging, check the pace of the session. Are you giving them enough pondering space to think through their thoughts so that they can contribute? The 3rd space you need to create is an aligned space. And what I mean by an aligned space is that the purpose of the session, what you think the purpose of the session is, aligns with what they think the purpose of the session is. Sometimes people are just completely checked out or disengaged, not contributing, because they don't know why they're in the room. So it's important in your initial invitations and welcome emails that you make the purpose clear, but also at the beginning of the session to check in with what people want to get out of the day. Make sure that aligns with why you think you're in the room too. So if you've got quiet participants who are not engaging, check the alignment. Do you think and they think you're in the room for the same reason? The fourth space you need to create is a contained space. And what I mean by a contained space is putting the edges around the conversation. This is where we're prepared to go today, and this is where we're not prepared to go. What are the parameters of this discussion? Containment also means containing other voices so that the loud voices don't completely take over. You might need to do that through different structures or processes. You might need to break people into smaller groups, being mindful of group dynamics, but making sure that you have control over the edges of the conversation and who is speaking when and how and for how long, so that the quiet participants actually have space to speak. If you've got a quiet participant who's not engaging, check the space you're giving them in the room. How can you create more space for the quiet participants to step into? The fifth space you need to create is an engaging space. Sometimes a participant is quiet or disengaged or checked out because you're just not that interesting. If you want quiet participants to engage, then you need to be engaging. And that's about designing your sessions for contribution, involving them in the process, not just being a talking head at the front of the room where they're going to check out. If you have a quiet participant who's not engaging, check how many times you've given them an opportunity to contribute. Do you need to craft some better questions or better activities that actually draw them into the space? If you're keen to make your workshops more engaging, but you're not sure where to start, you'll want to head over to my website and check out this free resource, Facilitate This. It's a booklet of 45 activities that build connection and spark engagement in a group setting. The link's in the description below. Go check it out.